I'm going to start and I'd like to say hello. And here it's still morning, but I'm sure where you are it's the evening. Hello everybody, thank you for joining me on my Instagram live again. Lovely to see you, lovely to have you. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you're well. I hope that yourself, your family are all well, and hopefully you've had a good weekend so far. Lovely to see people joining, people attending. Fantastic. Lovely to have you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. So, I missed you all. I didn't have an Instagram session last week. I'm sorry about that. Thank you, Vita. I can see you got my post. Very good. Lovely, lovely. I'm very well, Fani X2533. Thank you so much. You might be able to see that I've got rosy cheeks, which is as a result of not enough sun cream, and I need to moisturize a bit more. But it's great. I hope that you're well as well. Thank you. I miss you guys too. Thank you so much. I'm just here visiting family. I'm just here visiting my brother and his wonderful family, and I will be back in the UK very, very soon. Hello from Tabriz, and lovely. Very good. Thank you so much. I hope that you've been okay with the posts that I've been putting. I've been posting a lot more frequently, as you might have seen. I'm trying to post almost every day, apart from Saturdays, because, there's just one day that I wasn't able to post. Oh my God, where is the sun in the UK? No, I'm not in the UK. I've come to California to visit my brother. That's where the sun is, and I'm not used to it, so I need to moisturize a lot more. But yes, I've been trying to post as frequently as possible. I want to try and get in as much as possible with the posts, because I'm not teaching. I've got a little bit more extra time, and hopefully you've been able to find that useful. I hope. Where are you? I'm currently in California, in sunny California right now. Hi from Kurdistan. Lovely. Kermanshah. Very nice. Mahdi, where are you from? Where, with a different spelling, where? Where are you from? I'm from the UK, but currently visiting family in the States. And hi from the UK. Yes, I miss the UK definitely. So I'm going to talk a little, because I have a complete understanding. Well, I try to have a complete understanding of what it's like to be in a different country. Obviously, I've lived in other countries before, but I thought it would be hopefully it would be useful to talk in my live about what it feels like to be in a different country, like many of you who are living in different countries as well. Of course, it's different when you're visiting, when you're on holiday. It's completely different to when you go to a new country to work or to study and live. That's completely different, yes. But it's still mingling with and dealing with people and culture that you're not familiar with. So I just thought I might mention that a little bit. I love the way you teach. Thank you. As a teacher myself, I know how wonderful you are. Thank you. That's very kind of you, sweet English. Very, very kind of you. Thank you. Lovely. Okay. I've just been in a different country as well. Very nice. We feel homesick sometimes. Yeah, that's normal. I think that's normal. What is your relationship with Iranians? I'm not sure what the underlying message is there. What's your relationship with? My father is Iranian. That's my relationship. Mingling. Yes, sorry, I just mentioned that. Mingling. I'm going to write it down. So to mingle, we use it with people, and it means to mix. So when you mingle with people, it means you mix with people. So you go and you introduce yourself and you really mix with people at work, at a maybe party, a gathering, anywhere. That's called mingle. Mingle. To socialize with lots and lots of people around you. That's called mingle. Mingle. Okay. You said mingling. Yes, yes. So it's important wherever we go, when we go to a new culture, a new environment or anywhere, that we definitely do mingle. And I think that's how we learn a bit more about the new culture of where we are as well. Okay. Thank you, Bito. You're very, very kind. Thank you. Lovely. A couple of things I want to mention, if that's okay. Firstly, a huge apology to all the students, all my phrasal verbs and idiom students. Huge apology to all of you. We were supposed to have a session, weren't we? About an hour ago, and because I'm not at home, I don't have my own workstation. I'm not sure exactly what happened, what went wrong, but next Sunday at 6 o'clock UK time, which is 8:30 in Iran, we will definitely have another session on phrasal verbs and idioms, the Q&A session, and we will have lesson 4 and lesson 5 together. Okay, so I definitely want to make it up to the phrasal verb and idiom students. Apologies for that. Later, you might find that I have sent you the link 2 or 3 times, but I'm not sure exactly what happened. I do apologize. We will definitely make up for it. Another thing I want to point out, 2 students asked me questions and they asked me to explain this in the live, which I'm going to do right now. One of them is, somebody asked me to talk a little bit about the present simple. Present simple. This is the tense that all of us learn. It's the first tense that we learn, I think, in the English or any other language. It's the easiest, possibly in English anyway, it's the easiest tense that we learn and the first tense that we learn. And present simple, we use this when we talk about habit, when we talk about routine, something that happens all the time, routine. So I'm not just talking about something temporarily happening, I mean something that happens all the time. Another way you can use routine, or another grammar that you would use for routine, is zero conditional. Zero conditional. So the zero conditional and the present simple, both of these we use them to talk about routine. Zero conditional, for example, if I don't get my morning coffee, if I don't get my morning coffee, present simple, yeah, if I don't get my morning coffee, comma, I am miserable all day. And that's an example, but that's a routine. So if I don't get my morning coffee all day, I'm miserable and grumpy. That's just an example. It's not real, okay? But that is an example of something that is routine. We can use zero conditional, or we can use present simple, and we talk about routine, something that is true all the time. It's a habit. It's true all the time, okay? I've explained both of these, present simple, all the tenses, conditionals, all of these, I've explained them completely with lots and lots of examples in my Grammar 1 course on my website. I've also put, I think, the lesson on present simple, if I'm not mistaken, is free on my website. So please do go and take a look with that. Take a look at that. Okay. So hopefully I have answered that student's question. The second question I had was, Layla, what's the difference between speak to and speak with? Okay. Speak to and speak with, when we use them, yes, they are different. Speak to is you say, excuse me, can I speak to Mary for a minute? That means you have more authority. You might be Mary's boss. You might be her supervisor. You might be her parent. You might be her landlord. You might be maybe from the police or anywhere. It means you have more authority and you want to speak to Mary. That's when we use to. So if you want to speak to somebody, usually that means you have more authority. okay? Maybe a little bit more status, a little bit more power, either at work or anywhere. That's when we use speak to, okay? Speak with is when you just want to have a dialogue or a conversation. Yeah, so you might go knock on your friend's door and you might have a little problem. You want to discuss it with your friend. Can I speak with you? 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 So that would suggest that you just want to have a conversation. So speak to is the person who is saying it has a bit of authority. Yeah. Speak with is when you just want to have a conversation. So I hope that that makes sense. Yeah, I've got Targol 9675. Speak with is more polite. So it's not necessarily about being polite or anything. It's just it depends. If you have the authority, you say speak to. If you just want to have a conversation, dialogue, speak with. Okay, lovely. Very good, very good. Next thing I want to point out is I recently put a story up about language and culture in the UK. This is a 5-week course that I'm going to start. It will be starting end of August. I think 28th of August is when you will have the first lesson on the website. And the first Q&A session we will have on the Sunday, 3rd of September. I want you to think of anybody who's interested. Obviously, I'm not forcing anybody, but anybody who's interested, I want you to see this as an investment. Please don't see it as a normal course, because normal English, normal grammar, normal idioms, these are things that we can find in films, textbooks, videos, that kind of thing. If you want to get to know the culture of a place, that has to come from somebody who knows the culture of that country, okay? So if I want to come and live in Iran, which I would very much like to do very soon, if I want to come and live in Iran, to get the culture of Iran, I would have to read lots of books. And sometimes the books might not show me the accurate way of behaving or saying something. So I would need to consult a Farsi speaker, a native Farsi speaker. In this course, Culture and Language in the UK, I'm telling you about the culture of living in the UK. Sometimes we learn vocabulary, we learn idioms, and we think, it's okay, I can use this anywhere. No. It might be seen as impolite, even though you might think this is fine, this is a polite sentence. In the culture, it might be seen as impolite. I'll give you a very small example. If in Iran, for example, you're sitting in a group of people, maybe you're sitting in a meeting, not a meeting, you're sitting amongst a group of people and you're hungry, you want to eat something. Iranian people are so polite that before they start eating, what do? They start offering it to other people, right? Which is lovely. It's really nice and polite. We don't have that in the UK, unfortunately. So if someone's hungry, they might just start eating. They might say, excuse me, everybody, I'm going to eat because I'm hungry, and that's fine. That we don't judge people. Oh my goodness, you're eating in the middle of other people? What about the rest of us? We don't really have that or do that. So it's part of the culture where you just get out your sandwich and you start eating it. You don't need to offer anybody. If you do offer your food or drink to somebody else, other people might take it off you and they'll say, yeah, I'll have it, thanks. Because we don't have the word tarof in English. So that's a cultural thing, okay? Another very, very small example is if somebody offers you, maybe a drink, or somebody offers you a pen or whatever they offer you. In Iran, I think it's polite that we say, no, thank you, I don't need it. We don't have that here. We don't take it straight away because that's obviously not very good. We say, are you sure? Are you sure? That means are you sure it's okay for me to take it? Of course, that person is sure because they offered it to me. But it's just polite, and this is where culture comes in. It's just polite, even though you offered me your pen, I'm not just going to take the pen and say thanks. I have to say, are you sure? That's part of the culture, okay? So if you offer me something, if I just take it off you and say thanks, that's seen as a bit rude. We do have to say, are you sure? And that person, of course, will say yes, and then I take the pen and I go do what I want to do. So these are little cultural things that I mean. These are things that you don't find in textbooks, or it's something that needs to be explained. And basically that's what this course is about, that we've got for anybody who's interested. In Iran, we say, excuse my back if we're sitting in front of a person, but not applicable here. Absolutely, absolutely. If you turn around to the person behind you and say, excuse my back, they're going to think, why did you say that? I'm not the queen, I'm not the king. Why did you say, excuse my back? In fact, if you say it to somebody in the UK, you make them feel very uncomfortable. So we don't do that. That means I think that you, the person behind me, you are royalty. You are bigger than me. You are more important than me. And it makes them feel very uncomfortable. So it's very unusual. We never do that. We never say that. Excuse my back. We don't do that. Yeah. Excuse me. What's this? They don't offer to pregnant women as well. They don't offer what? Sorry, to pregnant women. I'm not sure what that is. So I'm not sure what that is. Okay. Don't forget to say please. Ah, that's another one. Thank you. We are kings and queens in Iran. Of course you are. Of course you are. Another thing that, thank you for just mentioning it. Was it somebody just mentioned it? Don't forget to say please. Yes. Yes. One thing that I find people from other cultures don't do, and that's because they don't know the culture. It's not because they're rude. They're just not familiar with the culture. And that is this, that if I create any kind of inconvenience for you, okay, I have to apologize. And it's part of the culture that you accept my apology. It's just part of the culture. However much I make it inconvenient for you, however much you are uncomfortable because of what I've done, the culture says I have to apologize. And again, the culture says you have to accept my apology. That's how we do it. Okay? If I don't apologize, that's very rude. And if you do not accept my apology, again, that is very rude. Now, other cultures, they might do it differently. But in the UK, that's the way it's done. And for people to be able to feel more as part of the community, they feel more like they belong. It's very good to get to know the culture, obviously. Yeah, I'm trying my best. One, I love the name of that profile, that's great. Most of the time, British people misunderstand it and think we're rude. Yes. And I know for a fact that Iranian people are not rude at all. I know that the Iranian culture is one of the most polite, respectful, very, very high upper class cultures. I know that, but British people don't know that. So it's great to be able to learn the culture and show it that way. Okay, lovely. Sorry and excuse me. We use that a lot, don't we? We use that a lot, yes. Also, if you hear me speaking, I use it automatically. I say I think a lot. When I want to give my opinion, I don't just give my opinion. I usually start with I think, and this is automatic. We start our opinion with I think. That means my opinion is not fact. You might think differently. I think it's quite hot today. I won't say, oh, it's quite hot today. No, it's my opinion. I think it's quite hot today. Okay, so that's basically how we would use it. We have to offer because her baby's eyes are going to... Okay, yeah, so that's another thing as part of the culture. I know in Iran, and this is lovely, and it happens in other cultures as well. I don't just want to pick on Iran. In lots of other cultures, if you see a baby outside, I think the parents of the baby are very happy if other people go and say, oh my God, she's so cute, oh my God, she's so nice. And they're very touchy, if I'm not mistaken, with Iranian people, because everybody's so kind, so loving, so welcome. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, parents like it when other people come and, you know, very gently pull their cheek maybe, or pinch their cheek very gently, and oh my God, so sweet, so nice, and they play with the hand or the foot of the baby. We do not do that in the UK, not at all. Only people who are very close family, very close friends do that. We do not do that at all in the UK. It's very, very bad if we do this. So it's just getting to know the culture of where you are. It doesn't mean you're a rude person, not at all. It's just getting to know it. Okay. So anyway, that's the course that I will be starting. 28th of August is when you will get the lesson on the website. 3rd of September is when we have the first Q&A session. It's going to be for 5 weeks. I will be teaching you 30 very, very important cultural aspects about the UK. 30 aspects that everybody can use, not just parents, not just ladies, not just gentlemen, not just students, not just office workers, everybody. If you live in the UK, you have to know these, and that's what I'll be teaching. Okay, lovely. Right, I've talked for long enough, I think, so let's start the lesson itself. Being in a different country. Okay, so that's what we want to talk about today. A lot of you are professional yourselves. You live in a different country yourselves, so you know how it feels. You know the experience of living in a different country. What I would suggest is, because we go to a new culture, we go to a new country, there are lots of new things. And it's very easy to get overwhelmed. Overwhelmed, that's my new word. It's very easy to get overwhelmed. That means too many new things, and my brain is trying to process all these new things. If I am coming from Iran to live in the UK, I have to process the weather, I have to process the food, the different type of food, different culture, different language, different way of driving, different way of working, even talking to my boss. I don't say Mr. or Mrs., we just use the first name. All these are things that we have to process. It's a lot of information, and it's very easy for us to get overwhelmed. So when you're overwhelmed, it means too many things are happening at the same time, and that's when we start panicking, getting anxious, and it's very difficult. Okay, the way I look at it is to try and break them down into little chunks, just one at a time. Try to process things one at a time. Okay, so try to think about the weather. Okay, I need to get used to the weather. Think about it, plan for it, make sure that I'm dressing appropriately. Look at other people to see how they dress. Do a bit of research, obviously, on Google. Watch weather forecast and get to know the British weather, so that I am prepared and I don't need to worry about it anymore. The same about the food, the same about the language, the same about where I work, the same about the etiquette or way of behavior. Just looking at them little chunks, little bits, instead of thinking, oh my God, I'm living in a new country, what do I do now? Just breaking it down into little chunks, I think really, really helps. So my next phrasal verb is to push through the difficulties. Push through the difficulties. So we will get overwhelmed. We have to push through the difficulties, okay? We don't stop just because something is difficult. We don't stop. We keep pushing through. We keep pushing through. We give ourselves little chunks to think about every day. Yeah, and that's the way we do it. Push through. And I think the most important thing to bear in mind, that means to keep in mind, I'm just going to write that down, to bear in mind, that means to think about. One of the most important things for me to bear in mind is my mindset. Okay, now that I'm here in California, in the US, I can't have the same mindset that I have in the UK. Okay, I have to be aware that I'm in a new environment. So what I say or what I do in the UK might not be the same here. I think I put a story out a few days ago. I went to a chemist, or they say pharmacy. I went to a pharmacy here and I was looking for nail polish remover. I say nail varnish, but I learned that they say nail polish, okay? And that's something that I need to remember, that obviously the language is different, but also that they communicate differently. In the UK, whenever I say thank you, I'm always used to, I'm always used to somebody saying, it's okay, you're welcome, no problem, sure, that's fine. I'm automatically used to, as soon as I say thank you, the other person answers. In the US, they don't do that very much. So that was a bit of a shock to me, that when you say thank you in the US, these people I've been around here, they don't always answer. They might just say, mm-hmm. And that was a bit of a shock, but that's the way it's done. I can't have my British mindset in the US. It doesn't work that way. It's very similar for people who go to live in another country. I can't have the same mindset of my own country when I move to a different country. Different country, different culture, different expectations. I have to be prepared for that. I have to be prepared for that. So that's basically what I'm trying to say. The mindset has to gradually change. There are lovely, lovely, lovely people who send me messages sometimes. Layla, I want to learn English. Fantastic. Welcome to my page. Thank you. And I say, okay, what do you want to learn? You know, what do you want to do? And they say, I don't have any English friends. I don't go to work. I don't have a job. I don't communicate with my neighbors in the UK. I'm new. I don't have any kind of English communication. I don't have time to learn English, but I want to learn English. Help me. It's very difficult. Yeah, I'm sure you agree. It's very difficult for me to be able to give any advice to people like that. The idea is that if we want to learn a language, we learn the culture and the language together. We need to get out there. We need to want it. We need to work for it. If you know anybody who's lived in a foreign country for a long time, ask them, how is it that you can speak the language so easily? What did you do? How long did it take you? And I'm sure they will tell you it took them a long time. We can't go to sleep at night, click our fingers, wake up the next day and I'm fluent in a language. It doesn't work like that. I wish it did. I honestly wish it did, but it doesn't work like that. We really, really have to work at it. We really have to work at it. And one of the biggest things we can do to help ourselves is to change our mindset. So a lot of people, when they come from Iran, they still have the Iranian culture in their blood, which is wonderful, but you will see that it doesn't match easily with the British culture. Yeah, you see that. And sometimes some people from Iran, they say, oh my God, British people are so cold. They have no feeling, they have no emotion. Compared to Iranian culture, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But we have to try and stop comparing all the time. That was Iran, very good. So if I'm with Iranian people in the UK or the US or whatever, I use my Iranian culture and I'm very proud of it, absolutely. But if I'm at work and all the people around me are English or from other cultures, I can't really bring my own culture because there's going to be a bit of a friction. It's going to be a bit different. Culture differences that when we immigrate, we have to adapt. Absolutely, Farnaz. Yes, absolutely. Dr. Rizzo, when can we see you in Iran? Oh, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. My daughter doesn't have an Iranian passport, so it's not going to be anytime soon, unfortunately. But I am honestly counting the seconds to bring my kids to Iran so they can see this is Iran. Oh my goodness. I want to show them everything and everywhere, definitely. Let's see, live the language, my teacher says. Yossi 1364, your teacher is absolutely right. Absolutely right. Language is not just words. It's a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle. If a British person, I'm sure people who live in Iran, you might have seen foreigners coming to Iran, and you might have seen that when they use their own culture, their own language in Iran, you might think, oh my God, they're so rude. They're so rude. When the taxi stops and we want to get in the taxi, Iranian people, obviously because they're so respectful, they say, no, please, you go first. You go first. I'll go in second. Yeah. But other cultures, no, open the door and go in. So they stand in a queue and they go based on the queue. It doesn't matter who is behind me. I go first, you go second, that's it. And I'm sure Iranian people might think, oh my God, that's so rude. What? They, that's really rude. That's just the way it is. So it is part of a lifestyle, absolutely. Okay, so I don't know where Gesht Ershad came in, okay. I'm feeling rough today, I'm under the weather. When I saw you, I have a lot of energy. Oh, thank you so much, Bita. That really means a lot to me. Thank you. I'm sorry you're not feeling well. I am sorry you're not feeling well. I hope you get better soon. Okay, right. I just joined. Let's see. I just joined. May I ask why all the examples are about Iran? Is the topic today only about Iran? Thank you for asking. We're talking about being in a different country. So I'm trying to bring parallels. I'm trying to compare what it's like living in Iran, in your own country, and then moving and living in a different country. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. I speak with myself every time and everywhere. You know, I try to explain everything for myself in English. Very good, very good. That's another good point. Thank you. That some people say, well, I don't have a partner to practice in English. What do I do? And yes, learning a language without a partner is very difficult. Absolutely. Because language is a communication subject. It's not like maths or geography or, I don't know, science that you can go and sit in the bedroom and do some practice. Language is definitely something that we need to use, and the more we use it, the stronger it gets. However, just because I don't have a partner doesn't mean that I just sit and wait. Hopefully a partner will appear from heaven. No, I have to get productive myself, right? So I have to start reading. I have to start listening as much information as possible. And then I have to start speaking and writing and producing my own language. Yeah, I don't have to just wait for a partner. Oh, I don't have a partner, so I can't learn a language. That might never happen, for now anyway. Okay. Let's see. من روز اول که استادم وارد اتاق شد از جام بلند شدم. شوکه شد. Yes, yes. This again is beautiful, beautiful culture from Iran. We don't have this in the UK. Yeah. If you stand up, everybody's like, oh my God, what happened? Why did you stand up? Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes. Okay, very good. Why, when I tried German language, German vocab come up first, compare doing, I don't know, sorry. Very good, thank you very much. Indirect criticize in the UK. Yes, we try not to. We really, well, the majority try not to be rude. You might have seen in my stories, if I do post stories about Iran, you might have seen somebody in Iran says something ridiculous, and we don't use bad words. Uneducated people use bad words very easily, but usually if we're educated, if we have a brain, we try to use other vocabulary, not bad words. If we use bad words, it shows the other people that we are very cheap. Yeah, it shows the other people that we are very limited. So we try not to use bad words. We can use other words, other vocabulary. And we can criticize, we can be very rude, but not with bad words. Yes, we do that a lot. We love the queue. We absolutely love the queue in the UK, yes. But I think that's a good thing, right? Because when you queue up, that means everybody has the same equal opportunity. Everyone has the same equal opportunity. I remember when I was in Iran about 14 years ago, my son was 6 months old. I went to Iran 14 years ago just for a holiday. And I remember I went into a chemist, a pharmacy, and I think I wanted to get nappies, like Pampers nappies. And of course, as normal, I'm standing. Other people were coming in. They weren't standing in, 14 years ago. They weren't standing in a queue. They just went forward and said what they want, and they got it and left. This happened a few times. And I was thinking, maybe there is not the queue system here in this pharmacy. I'm sure there is a queue system in lots of places, but some places there might not be. And that was something that I learnt, that you don't just stand back and wait for the shop assistant to come to you. Maybe you, the customer, have to go and speak up to the shop assistant. Whereas in the UK, if there is a queue, and you just go forward and speak to the shop assistant, you will get very, very angry customers giving you very dirty looks, definitely, so we don't do that. Okay. Private classes, I don't have private classes, I'm sorry. Watching movies helps to learn, yeah, yeah. Definitely. But do be careful, please, with movies. Please do be careful. Somebody sent me a sentence from a movie and they said, Layla, I used this and the person didn't understand what I said. Yes, I think the sentence was, a lovely person sent me a sentence and she said, Layla, at my place of work, we were in a meeting and my boss wanted me to do something and I said, consider it done. And she said, they looked at me in a very strange way. And I said, yes, consider it done, consider it done. خیالتون راحت, اصلا تصور کنین که انجام شده. خیالتون راحت. Basically, that's what it means, right? It's with respect that this lady said it that way, but in everyday English, we don't use that. That's only what we use in a film, in a movie. We don't usually go around in work, especially in work and work, consider it done. We don't speak like that. It's not normal. That person will definitely understand what you're trying to say, but that's not what we use. Yeah. So film English, everybody understands what you're saying, but it's not what we use in everyday English. A very good way to learn what we use in everyday English is watch the film. That's fantastic. But to get to know what we say in real English, if you can, try and watch real programs, so it's not a film, it's not recorded, it's real conversations, live conversations that people have. If you remember, I had with some of the students, I had my listening course. And on my listening course, people were listening to real conversations. In real conversations, we talk over each other. همزمان حرف میزنیم sometimes, yeah? We talk over each other. In real conversations, we might start a sentence and then we change the sentence and start another sentence. We don't complete it all the times. So real conversations, real life conversations are very different to films. Just do be aware of that as well. Okay, thank you very much. Your pronunciation is helpful, lovely. Okay, come to Iran. I'd love to. I'd absolutely love to. Where do we go? They don't stand for the teachers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Could you please explain about the interview and how to answer the interview questions in the UK? The interview is very stressful in general. For me, as my mother tongue is not English, it makes me more stressed. Okay, this is from Baharak. Thank you, Baharak. In my Dore Zabone Do, I have a complete lesson just about interviews. Okay, so when you go to an interview here in the UK, the interview can be divided into 3 sections. One section is before the interview starts. So you're all sitting in the room together, the interviewee, which is you, and then the panel, which are people who are interviewing you. Okay, so before the interview starts, we usually have a bit of chit chat. We usually have a bit of a conversation. It's a bit more relaxed. And there are certain questions and things we say there. Then we have the main interview, which is question and answer. And we try to sell ourselves. We try to make ourselves sound like I am perfect for this job. You need to hire me for this job. This is something we do during the interview. And I have introduced lots of useful vocabulary and idioms for during the interview as well. And finally, at the end of every interview, usually the panel, the interviewers, will ask you, do you have any questions? Is there anything you need us to talk about? Is there anything you'd like to say? A lot of people say, no, thank you. But that is a golden opportunity for you to ask some questions as well at the end of the interview. So in interview, I have broken it down to 3 sections: before, during, and after, all together in one interview. I can't remember exactly what they are. They're in the lesson that I created maybe a couple of years ago, but that is in Dore Zabone Do, and I highly recommend you check that out. Okay. Dore hami bezar followerat bebinanit. What does that mean? Sorry, I'm so sorry. I don't know what that means. Your way of teaching is wonderful. Thank you. If you like my way of teaching, lovely people, wow, and I'm well over my time. If you like my way of teaching, firstly, thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Secondly, my way of teaching is hopefully useful to you. And this is because you, lovely people, are sending me fantastic questions. Okay. One person said, Layla, you don't follow the trend on Instagram. Yes, I don't. I love watching other people's pages. It's very entertaining, very interesting. What lots of other people are doing is they take a clip from a film, they take a clip from music, and it's very entertaining. But I like to answer my students' questions, okay? So if you have a question, answering your question is a lot more important for me than teaching you the Ed Sheeran song. Ed Sheeran is one of my favorite singers, of course. His lyrics are amazing, but an Ed Sheeran song might not help you if you go into Tesco. Or if you want to get a job, or if you want to say something to the Uber driver, or if you want to talk to your child's teacher, an Adele song or a clip from a Titanic movie might not help very much. So what I'm trying to do, thanks to you, is I'm trying to answer your questions. So thank you. If you like my page, it's because of you, all of you, sending me really, really good questions. Thank you so much. Thank you. You have made my page successful, if you think my page is successful. Lovely. How many languages do you know? 1.5, shall we say. What other languages do you teach? Currently, I just teach English. I would never start teaching. I would never presume that I am well informed enough to start teaching Farsi. I would never do that. And I take my hat off, definitely. I take my hat off to anybody who is at any level, who is a Farsi speaker and they want to teach English. My hat off to you, definitely, definitely. The lovely Samson has joined. Hi Samson, lovely to see you, lovely to have you. Okay, really enjoy listening to your speaking, but I even enjoy more when you speak Farsi. You're very patient with me when I speak Farsi, that's for sure. How can we find a partner? This is more than 1 year that I look for a partner to speak English, but I cannot find it. If you live in wow, I've got lots of texts, lots of messages. I'm so slow. I'm so sorry. If you live in the UK, okay, or if you live in an English-speaking country, then you already have that golden opportunity. All you have to do is switch on the radio, the TV, open the door and leave the house. You've already got that fantastic opportunity to hear English, listen to English, speak English, and be amongst English people, English-speaking people. But if you're not living in an English-speaking country, I'm sure you still have access to the internet. I'm sure you have access to YouTube. You might just need a VPN or something. I strongly suggest, please do watch movies, that's fantastic. Do listen to songs, that's amazing. But try to, if you can, try to Google, for example, just off the top of my head, try to Google, for example, traveling on a cruise ship, or a day, for example, working at the post office. These kind of things. And videos will come up for people, and this is a new thing. People have started recording themselves. They've started recording themselves while they're at work, and this is amazing. They will record themselves while they're at work, and you can get to know the language. You can also get to know the culture. You can get to know the job itself. So those are valuable videos if you can find those. And they use very current vocabulary as well, you know, stuff that's actually going around. Do you live in Manchester? Normally, yes, I do. Consider it done. English teacher Roshani. Oh, sorry, you're answering somebody else, sorry. کسی اینجا لهجه بریتیش رو دوست داره؟ I do. Okay. Thank you, very kind of you, lovely. Okay, I have taken 50 minutes of your time, lovely people. Thank you so much for giving me your Sunday evening. Thank you very much for joining me. Thanks, Mariam, for that. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you were able to take something away from this session. And I will definitely see you next Sunday as well. Now that I've got my sleep sorted, I will definitely see you next Sunday, everybody. Thank you again to all the lovely questions that you send me. Again, it's your questions that if you think my page is useful, it's because of your questions. I'm not doing anything extraordinary. I'm just speaking my mother tongue. And I'm going to quote what Samson said in either one of his stories or one of his posts. Sorry, Samson, the wonderful, fantastic English teacher, said, sorry, this was on Threads. Samson said this on Threads, that I'm not doing anything extraordinary or amazing. It's you students, you English learners who are doing all the hard work learning English. And I completely 100% agree with what he says, that this is just our native tongue. I mean, we're not doing anything extraordinary at all. It's you people who are doing all the hard work, attending these live sessions on a Sunday, digging out these course books and coming out with fantastic questions and visiting stories and posts and commenting. And you're doing all the hard work. We're just doing our normal conversation. We're just talking normal English. So thank you. Thank you. I'm going to enroll, sorry, what was this? I'm going to enroll to your online class. I think you mean the culture and language class, but I can't find that story. Don't worry if you can't find the story, it might have actually disappeared. If you go to my website, all my courses are there. Okay, so if anybody goes to my website, the very first thing that you will see is like a small collection of a few free lessons. It's not fantastic. I haven't given you lots of free things, obviously, because students are paying money to see those, so I can't give them away for free as well. But this will hopefully give you an idea of my teaching method, so you can see if you like my teaching method, if you agree with it or not, like a sample, but hopefully you can learn something from it as well. So that's I think I've called it Nemune Tadris, and that's something I've learned from Farsi speakers. And then after that, I've got two categories. If you're intermediate, I've got some courses. If you're a bit higher and more advanced, I've got other courses as well. And the culture one is going to be at the bottom of the page, of the website. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to save this on YouTube. It will be ready on YouTube. Once it's ready, I will definitely put it in a story and send it on my page, post it on my page. Last question, can you tell us how we can learn self-study? Yes. Self-study is something, the reason why I've chosen self-study is because people are either busy with family or they're working, or sometimes they're on holiday, they're not available. So self-study is a really good way of getting around that. You study in your own time. You study as many times as you want, whenever you want. But the culture and language course, I've given you all week. You study the lesson yourself. On Sunday, I expect people to answer my questions. So I expect everybody to have done the homework. I'm not giving homework. I mean, I expect people to have learnt a little bit about the lessons. And if they have any questions, they ask me. Once you're okay with the lesson, that's when it starts. That's when learning starts. We need to start using it. It's just like learning a bike. I can watch somebody riding a bike for 10 years. It's not really going to teach me how to ride a bike until I get on the bike myself and I start riding. Okay, so language is one of those that we have to use it. The more we use it, the stronger it gets. The less we use it, the more we forget. I'm sure you might have experienced that with Farsi as well. If there are some words you don't keep using in Farsi, we start forgetting it. It's the same with any language. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend, rest of the evening, and I will see you very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.